wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure today to be part of AI show again. Thanks for the organizer. And today, when we plan for this discussion panel, usually I discuss with my kids what I'm doing today and what I moderate. And when he's hear about the names, he told me, Mommy, I call you from bottom when you are duty travel, and always like the AI application is there. So you need to think about how our emotion can read who I should call. And I said, you are using bottom, and my other son, he used Siri, like he said, for her call mom. And I think from old generation, we thought about it, we think about it, but today, the new generation, they are thinking in advance. And I do believe that we don't need to prepare the future for the new generation. We need to prepare the new generation for the future because I think they have advanced thinking. So today, let me welcome each one. And if we will take 1 minute for the audience, when I read your bios and what an incredible job you are doing. So I'll start with you, Mr. Vikram. If you can introduce yourself and how you link your AI within your organization.
Thank you, and a very good morning to all of you. My name is Vikram Tanna. I'm the CEO at Mzaalo, which is part of the Eros Investments Group. I've been from a media and entertainment background all my life. In the past, I've worked with Discovery, Viacom, and Disney. AI actually sits right at the center, or rather the epicenter of our organization. We've built a video streaming platform, and currently we've got 200 million plus registered users, 40 million paid subscribers, and these subscribers are across 150 countries globally. Primarily, these are through our distribution partners, which include international telcos, OEM devices, and connected devices. We've also created a gamified video streaming platform, which hosts 12,000 plus movie titles for content users. And these are primarily based on gamification. In a sense, through blockchain, rewards are given to users. We are tokenizing their time and attention. Primarily from an AI perspective for the organization, we are transforming entertainment IPs with AI. It will change the way brands, users kind of interact, right? It's going to really change the dimension in the way content and advertising solutions today are working in the content ecosystem. On one hand, there is content. We've seen content recommendation engines with almost every OTT player. On top of that, we've built a rewards recommendation engine. So this together brings the concept of content drives commerce alive for the consumer through AI. But what is really interesting is how we can bring in economies of scale, bringing down production costs, and building every local product through AI to give global reach. So just imagine a movie which is created for a particular language in a particular city, is then transformed to 100 languages through subtitling, dubbing, and also to make it more relevant for the consumer, your jaw movements and lip movements are in sync with the language of the consumer itself. So that kind of catapults the entire experience. And along with that, there are solutions which are advertising solutions. So just imagine this is a show. At this stage, this bottle is here with brand A, and somebody watching this video after 2 days or after 2 months, this brand can get changed with a bottle of another water or a bottle of cola. So that's how we're using AI on our platform.
Thank you, Vikram. Robert, can you introduce yourself and how it's linked the AI in your organization right now?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. So I'm heading the asset management division of Mashreq Bank, which is Mashreq Capital. We provide investment solutions to institutional clients and operate a range of public funds. And as a key technology, AI is very high on our list because we started enhancing our investment process using AI tools. We see that this is just the beginning across not only enhancing the investment decision-making process, but you have applications in risk management, operational efficiency, so it feeds all through the organization. When we look at how the industry evolved, having a look at our competition, I think traditionally you saw AI applications and the use of these technologies more concentrated in large international asset management firms or hedge funds, and not really firms of our size. But given the increased accessibility of these technologies, I think nowadays really firms of any size can utilize and leverage this technology.
Thank you. Mr. Amine.
Yes.
I know very well because I'm a big fan of your application, but if you will introduce how you link it to your organization, and most people, they are using your application right now.
Sure. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for hosting me today. My name is Sabri. I'm the Group Chief Financial Officer of Astra Tech. And under Astra Tech, we're building the largest digital consumer platform in the MENA region. On my spare time, I'm also a venture partner of the Entitled Venture Fund, which is an early-stage venture capital fund investing in deep technology companies globally. I would say under Astra Tech, and we've been there only for 14 months now, we have around 250 employees globally, and 80% of our workforce, they have a data science, data engineer, software engineer background. So in a nutshell, I would say AI is not only part of our DNA, it's our core DNA. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anshuman, your side, how you link AI in your organization?
Good morning. Well, first of all, I've been in fashion and lifestyle business for nearly 2 decades. And I've seen it change from being a very, very human-intensive business at every touch point to becoming a very automated business. And honestly, it is one of the most consumer-facing business where AI has been seeing a lot of adoption. While there's a lot of glamour around AI recommendation on makeup and dresses and so on and so forth, and we would love that to happen very soon. In retail, AI has been finding a lot of application in the area of not so glamorous areas, so to say, like warehousing, purchase planning, order planning. I think a lot of those activities now internally within our organization is being done more by machine than by people.
To be honest, when I see we are coming, each of us different background, like from the aviation industry, people asking when the robot will start flying, when the robot will start fixing. Some manufacturing, they are using robot in some of the part of airplane. But when I will ask you, Anshuman, I will start with you, how more organization and business can adopt AI as a process or machining, or how you think different organization and a decision maker in any organization, I will not mention one industry, how they can adapt it, AI. A lot of them, they don't understand it yet. They think it's just application or process or designing. But when you come and you mention as machining part and a productivity side, how we can adapt it?
So there are 2 elements to this, the way we see it. One is you have to list down all your processes on a matrix, on a scale of repetitive to creative. The more repetitive the process, they need to be eliminated first from human touch point to machine. The more creative the process, it will continue to need human intervention, because machine obviously is not sentient yet, and until it becomes sentient, it will not be able to perform creative tasks. I don't get fooled by all those AI-generated images that you see every day of fashion and people and everything, because they're nothing but repetitive. They've taken in the past images and produced a future image. So all the processes which are dangerous, which are repetitive, have to be eliminated, and they can be done very, very effectively by machine, in fact, far more effectively by machine. I'll give you an example, a very, very simple process of what product needs to be in which point of sale. Was being done by machine 2 years ago, by human 2 years ago, using 4 or 5 parameters. Now and that would take an individual a 1 full day to complete the process for 4 or 5 points of sales. Today, machine does that using more than 25 parameters and does it in 15 minutes for all the points of sale. So we've eliminated a repetitive process and directed more human capital towards creative process, which makes organization a much better place to work.
I totally agree. And when Dr. Isa, he put in the slide that imagine it, design it, and make it happen. And when I discuss it with my boss, and always they said, we imagine that from emotion, when we touch our phone, the phone should know we want to call who. And to be honest, this is what makes us to think about it, how to improve each initiative and tools as a decision maker, how we can pursue them, Mr. Robert, and make them know this initiative and improve it as a decision maker, because a lot of idea, a lot of tools, and we see in each article now about AI that is written by 2023 and beyond, that everywhere will be AI. Yes, now we see it in the application, iPad, phone, maybe a daily process we do it, but it's still not being improved or any initiative, a huge initiative. So from your background, as nowadays, how we can improve decision maker to take this initiative and go beyond what is current in the market?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I think actually listen to you. Our industry is not so different in using AI. Lots of repetitive tasks and also creative process of investing money. So we are actually having the same approach. We are trying to automate everything that is repetitive. We build up AI tools and machine learning in a way that it is assisting our investment management to make the right decisions, to get the right information filtered towards them, and in a way that has not been able before. So imagine we have hundreds of different investments, and it's impossible for a team of 5 people to review every single investment on a daily basis. But if you have an algorithm sifting through your portfolios every time you enter the portfolio and, well, actually you start a new day, and it's automatically flagging areas where you should maybe have a closer look, areas of concern, or even analyze patterns in the market that might not be really visible to us as a human before, but highlight patterns that we were not even aware of. So I think for us, I mean, decision making is really at the core of our business. We have to make decisions every day, and these tools are a tremendous help to take it to another level. So we don't replace investment managers as such, but it's an additional layer on top of the investment process that actually helps investment managers to do a better job.
Thank you.
And if I may add a different perspective to what Robert's saying now, we're going to be facing very soon, right, a point where we're going to, if we want to leverage the full potential of AI, right, for a better decision making, we will have to hire AI. So, and the best example, that's something that already existed and started. So we saw this China-based gaming company, a public listed company named NetDragon. They hired an AI humanoid-powered CEO. And they saw a couple of months later efficiencies on their operations. They saw a better risk mitigation. And their stock price was outperforming for the first time ever the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for the past almost a year. So very often we say AI some clerical jobs will vanish because of AI. I think even us as C-suite, we should be very careful over the next couple of years.
Definitely agree. And I want to ask you, Mr. Amine, the question, because as you said, we need to implement and make it different industry. When it came to the news, they said more than 16 industry actually implement the AI. But when it came from your side, I know how you with bottom application and how you are align it and make it success with your team. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. So what we saw over the last couple of years, a trend that has been accelerating very drastically over the last couple of months, where these communication channels, right, and communication platforms and social communication platforms such as WhatsApp or Facebook Messengers or Twitter, with super engaging platforms with millions and billions of users, active users generating and consuming a tremendous amount of data on a daily basis. And proprietary data for these platforms. We saw these platforms increasingly adopting AI and machine learning powered solutions. But very often those solutions are very much limited to operational use cases. So for example, they've been using machine learning algorithms for fraud detections, for propaganda prevention, for risk mitigation. And we saw recently Twitter, for example, they implemented ChatGPT to offer a more human-like user experience to their users in their interaction with their users. What we did differently under Bottom, right, and we've been extremely forward-looking in the space, is that we implemented GPT with our Bottom GPT, and we brought on board an executional layer. So we made Bottom and Bottom GPT an enabler of inclusive and executional of economic transactions. So this is how we are making Bottom as a disruptive evolution of this the revolutionary, I would say, technology.
How many people using Bottom here? Can you raise your hand? So I'm one of them.
If I may just add a couple of statistics. So Bottom is 150 million users globally. We have in the UAE around 7 to 8 million active users on a monthly basis. So this is 70–80% of the population. And as of today, I was talking about inclusive transactions. So a person of 70 years old and a blue collar living in the labor camp, they all can initiate e-commerce transactions. So they can buy a carpet, they can sell a bike, they can send back money to their home country. So this is how we are trying to initiate a different perspective for AI in this region.
And this is what I do believe, the knowledge and the trust of this application, you find that the user using their tools or maybe buying the machine. And this is what some of the knowledge gap is still, people don't understand it, Mr. Vikram. And to help to close this gap and make it, we define the AI brain trust, leadership skill. And as a brain leader skill, what is it needed from us as a leader in different industry to help to reduce this gap and knowledge gap with the people, the customer, the organization, as well your team, because your team, they have to know the knowledge to be processing and continue working. So how we can reduce this gap?
Yeah, so let's step back a little bit, right? There are different revolutions which have happened in the human race, right? So you look at the Industrial Revolution, what did it do? It gave humans more time. Machines came in and started human time. So the human potential was unlocked. You could do many more things. Then came the Internet Revolution. In the Internet Revolution, distances became zero, right? So you can communicate, including through Bottom. You can communicate with each other through video calls. We don't need to be there in person. Again, saving human time through distance. AI can seriously unlock human potential to the next level. But to accelerate AI adoption, we need to be careful because it's a double-edged sword. It has the power to move at a much faster pace than the Internet Revolution or the Industrial Revolution. In my mind, there are 4 C's which will help us accelerate, and I'll kind of zoom in more in the content ecosystem where I am, but universally, these will apply in some form or the other. The first one is clear vision. More often than not, organizations turn into innovation labs trying to do different things, but you have to tie in your strategic AI objectives to your business objectives. It's very, very important to be data-driven with strategic decision-making. It's important to drive the innovation wave. And it's also very important for leaders to have a technology know-how. Not every business leader is a tech leader, but it's very, very important to get the basic concepts in place. The second one is change management. We all say change is the only constant, but the fact of the matter is you'll have to dive deeper, like you mentioned, within your team, get them to embrace AI. There will be people who want to move faster than others, and there'll be people who will be lagging big time. It's important to orient this from your customer point of view, from your enterprise partners. The entire ecosystem needs to kind of be driven with change management. The third one, which is very, very important in my mind, it's easy for leaders to talk, but the organization is through simple communication and collaboration. And that is of a sense because these are the ingredients, not just within teams. We speak about risk management over here, which is very important in the evolution of AI. This has to be taken care of right from the product and the revenue suite design to actually seeing how brand and consumer experiences will take place. And hence, these teams need to work very closely with your legal teams in the early stages of AI development. And the fourth one is about continuous learning. We all talk about the simple one-liner saying yesterday is history and tomorrow is a mystery, but that stands true. So you need to stay focused and work, but also be ready to adapt to changes which are happening within your organization and outside in the AI development.
With these four factors, we always determine the risk management and the risk assessment for such any new application, any new tool, any new idea. Even in our real life, like when it's calm, no one believes it will happen. When we were talking about, when I study in UK in 2000, I have to call my family from a very small phone, and it takes long time. And if you have the computer long time, if you remember the connection, how is it? You remember the sound. Till the reach the sound that it's being connected. But now it's easy, 1 o'clock. But how to build a risk management assessment, Roberto, about how people understand their risk? Because even with focus management, with breathing, with determine the knowledge, always their risk. So from your side and your view, how we can, Robert, build the risk assessment and management to prevent any future risk for any tools or any AI study?
Yeah, I think it's a very important topic, risk management. You have all these new exciting toys, and you have management consultants coming into the firm and having very interesting presentations to maybe a management that is not well versed yet with the new technologies. So they only see the opportunities, but then they fail to focus on risk. And if you're highly aware of the limitations of the technology, then things can go horribly wrong. I think one example is that I came across that a law firm, they were preparing a case to defend their client, and one of the junior associates, they used OpenAI to actually prepare the case and find examples of previous cases that were in their favor. And as it turned out, even though the associate had asked ChatGPT a couple of times, where can I find these cases? And yes, they're in the library, you can find them there, they're like in the database. But in the end, it turned out these cases were completely fabricated. It was a hallucination of the AI. And I think if we as a manager implementing these technologies are not aware of certain pitfalls and know how to prevent them, then it's a huge risk to our business. But I think overall, if you look at it, you balance opportunities against the risk. If you're aware of the risk, you hopefully eliminate part of that. And for your business, probably a risk would be a prompt injection that suddenly the chat goes horribly wrong. But I'm sure that you also have tools around that. So yeah, that's from my perspective.
I need to know from you, Anshuman, the risk side, because it's different. What is your strategy to prevent and how you determine the risk?
So I want all of us to step back a little bit from where we are and imagine if you were to ask a caveman that there has been a fantastic new discovery called fire, and how will it change your life, and how will you control fire hazards of future? We are like the same caveman who's been asked this question. Now, let me tell you briefly how fire changed our life, human race. Because of fire, we could eat and digest our food in finite time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That gave us a lot of time to think. Primitive human being did not have prefrontal cortex. It got developed because we started thinking. Because of fire, human being could sleep at night peacefully because no animal sleeps like we do, right? We could sleep peacefully because there was no danger of us getting attacked by another animal. So we slept peacefully. That means REM sleep patterns developed in our mind. Deep sleep allowed us to dream. Ability to dream allowed us to develop the ability to tell stories. Because when you sat around the fire at night, you could tell stories. That allowed us to develop language. Because you couldn't tell stories until you had language. That allowed us to develop communities in which we live. That also allowed us to develop firearms. Because for the first time, we could obliterate our enemy's family by literally click of a button. So we are sitting at that junction today. We don't know what will happen in future. I wish I could say that I know what will happen in future. But let me put it like this. Our human mind is too beautiful and too precious, and our time is too less to be wasted digesting a raw animal like a caveman did. So we have to accept the technology that comes. Like fire brings down the biggest buildings, yes, AI will bring down something drastic and cause major problem. But we didn't stop using fire because it burns down the most beautiful buildings. We will not stop using AI because we will not be able to control the ethics of AI. So I think for me, every time I worry about what will happen in future, I tell myself this story. I tell anyone who asks me the question, I tell themselves, it is nothing less than discovery of fire for mankind.
Well, let me add something. When I think about the future, and I always ask my student in university or my colleague, and usually they imagine that robot will be pilots, robot will be aircraft engineer, and to be honest, how it will fly. And today when we see how intelligence came and the new innovation, I think what is the future? When we go to the kids in KGs and grade 1 and 2, they want that emotion, from your emotion to know. You want to call who, if you are sad or you are happy. And if I ask all of you for 1 minute and less than 1 minute and the audience to imagine what will happen in the future, I want the audience to imagine, and I want you to imagine what the next 5 and 10 years, what will happen to the world and with the AI, even if it's good or bad or advantage or disadvantage. And I want to know your opinion. If it's advantage, why? And if it's disadvantage, how we need to prevent it. And I will start from you, Vikram.
So in my mind, AI will simplify human lives. Of course, it's a journey that we need to kind of pass through that. It'll give more power, and right now if you see power centers and are kind of situated at the epicenter with large corporates, it'll give power to 99% of the population, because AI tools will make it easy for the population to have skills, talent, deliver, and the time and the bandwidth to match what they want in terms of creativities. However, we need to ensure that with more power comes more responsibility, and it's very, very important to kind of curate this journey as, as the human race, so that we achieve its full potential.
Robert, from your side, if it's an advantage or disadvantage, and if it's not, how to prevent it?
Well, I think it's a huge advantage and a revolution. I agree with your example with the fire. It's completely a game changer, and when you when you sift through the media and you keep on hearing it's a hype, but I don't really think that people have fully understand the complete consequence yet. So I think it's just the start of it, and it will have quite huge implications, I would think, on society and the labor market. It will definitely change, for example, what type of skill sets I will hire in the future. For example, I will not hire the financial analyst anymore. We will be at a time of data scientists, prompt engineers, and then the financial competence for markets you can acquire on the side. And I think there will be winners and losers, as always, with these transitions. But I think if you look into the past, society as a whole has always benefited. So I would expect that going forward.
Thank you. Mr. Amine?
Yeah, like Dr. Isa said, we live today in an age of technological disruption, right, where every single industry and organization, they are being upended, right, and by exponential technologies such AI. And if I take just from the workforce angle, right, we, throughout human history, we saw so many jobs vanishing, but works persist. Right? So where are the telephone operators today? Where are the lift attendants today? Where are the postmen today? In Canada, we don't have a post service for the past decade. 30 years ago, that was, you couldn't imagine a country living without a post service, right? So, but this disruption will come with a huge productivity gains. And that's what it means for for companies, because they are the cornerstone of the economy, right, and the society. Companies will have more, so they will have more opportunities to expand geographically, expand their product, expand their offering, and what that means is job creation somewhere else or for other purpose. On the other hand, we will witness an economy of scale for these companies. And lower prices, and that's what it means for consumers is a higher consuming power. A higher consuming power means a larger pipeline of spending somewhere else, which again will initiate or trigger this job creation somewhere else.
Thank you. From your side.
So for me, I look at it very differently. For me, no human being deserves to die building a building, constructing a building for someone else. AI would be successful if it prevents the human race from working out there in 50 degrees on a construction site. That's the challenge for AI. What we do within these compounds, whether our jobs will be safe or not, are frivolous matters. Honestly, they are trivial. They are eventual outcomes of what will happen. But there are a lot of challenges. I mean, the other day, there was an accident in India, a train accident in India in which 288 people died.
Sorry for this.
AI needs to, no human being deserves to die in a train crash like that. I mean, I used to take that train for 4 years when I used to go from my home to the engineering college where I studied. It was the same train, and I was thinking, every time I read that news, I was thinking, what would I do with my friends at 7 p.m. in that train when that train crashed? So for me, it is more, AI would change the world only if it can give human race the true value of our time and life. Whether it will take away my job or not is none of my concern, because when it'll free me of all those burdens, I will have something else to do, which I know my children will figure out what to do with this beautiful brain that they have.
And this is what you said, the beautiful brain and a human always require. And I do believe we cannot prepare the future for our new generation, but we need to prepare our new generation for the future. So from four of you, what's your advice, not only for the student from Dubai University or any university or even the school, what's your advice? Especially they are so attached to the AI and the application, and they stop using their brain. Like they go to the phone asking Siri. If they want something, everything in the phone. What's your advice for the new generation to make them ready for the future? And we'll start, sorry, from Ash and then last to the Vikram.
So for me, AI is nothing but a brain amplifier. The trouble is, people who are supervising these technologies, like people like us, are rooted in last century. I don't want my son to get off the mobile phone. I mean, I don't want him to write. I go to his school and say, why are you making him write? Because no one writes. Nobody even types messages these days. Everyone. So these are all mind amplifiers. Be honest. We are far more intelligent today because of that iPhone in our hand than we were 20 years ago. I mean, we can check on any subject that we want to check on and become expert. I mean, I checked all the things that I'm speaking about on AI over last 20 days, and I sound pretty good, right? So you know, I mean, it is our mind amplifier. We have to stop resisting the change, let it flow. We have lived through 2 world wars, famines, you know, so many other things. We will live through this and come out strong, a stronger race on the other side. There's no challenge.
Thank you. Mr. Amine, your advice for the new generation?
So I would say 25, 30 years ago, the same way the phone brought certain disruption in families, right? And internet brought certain disruption and challenges in families, right? And we as a human, we've been able to overcome all the challenges, right? And empower the pros and the advantage of the technology. I strongly believe that the humanity, will overcome the challenges of artificial intelligence as well.
Thank you. Mr. Robert?
There might be personal choices, but I mean, I have 2 daughters. They are 5 and 7, and who knows what to recommend to them. But if I were to study again, I would probably choose something like math and engineering, philosophy, maybe have a high weightage on philosophy. But in general, my idea is also that we had, during our lifetime, a couple of technological developments that where always people questioned, do you still need math, yes or no? Pocket calculator, the population is dumbing down, they can't calculate anymore. Not true. Autocorrect, spelling, people can't spell anymore. Society didn't dumb down really, it's working. And now we have large language models helping us with all kinds of tasks. Maybe that's just the next step in the evolution of tools that we can to assist us in working and learning.
Thank you. Vikram, your last.
Yeah. I think AI will enhance the intersection of human and technology, which has been happening for years. It's quite sensitive in terms of putting down some do's and don'ts when it comes to children in schools, etc. But I think what will really create a differentiator, and which is what Doctor also mentioned earlier, I was listening to his session very carefully. So say, how do we get startups actually to start playing a role there? So rather than them just going to ChatGPT or other tools and trying out, and doing a trial and error, because nothing is tried and tested right now. There are you know, algorithm biases, etc. And that's a little bit of a danger to kind of expose them without curating. I think it's important if, you know, there are entrepreneurship and startup cells sitting in colleges. I have seen shows like Shark Tank getting into schools, right? So in an innovative way, if we give them feel to touch and feel how things will move in the AI world, and kind of, you know, participate from an entrepreneurship angle, it will help them understand that this is an evolving technology and it's not arrived, and help them filter it by themselves.
Thank you.